Good morning! Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Medicare
Hello.
Cafe pre-chat, where you have the old band back together. It's been weeks since you and I have been here.
If I'm welcomed back.
Of course. Well, no, it's been me too. I mean, this is for us.
Oh yeah, you've been traveling
different
so
reasons. So much. So it's been a while since I've been back on the cafe. It's been a minute since you and I have been able to do this together. So welcome, everybody. It's
glad to be here.
Have a little love fest of being like, oh my God, do you remember me? Do you remember? Like, yeah.
And look at how good it all looks.
I mean, like, listen, I'm not going to say.
They know what they're doing, you know?
They honestly, like, might probably need to be a little fearful for our jobs. Because, like, Ben and Clayton and Sadie, they really did, like,
nail it.
Like, I'm nervous. So welcome, everybody. Kari and I were just kind of getting caught up on life stuff. So we jumped on. This is obviously the Medicare Cafe pre-chat. If you are watching the recorded version of this, you are more than welcome to skip forward through the next, 7 minutes. We don't start right now. It is 9:53. We don't start until 10 o'clock at the top of the hour. So if you're watching the recorded version of this and you're just like, they never talk about anything. Well, it's because you're watching the pre-chat.
It's just a pre-chat.
So fast forward 7 more minutes, we'll actually get into the compliance conversation. But for everybody else, so again, we can kind of do some life updates, what we've been up to. But I think what more people will be really excited about to hear is these seminars. You're kind of giving me some updates and some really good feedback about these seminars that are working and some that maybe we learned stuff from.
I learned that if I market these seminars, only social media. So basically Facebook and LinkedIn. Those are the two sources that I marketed.
You don't consider TikTok that? You didn't do any TikTok marketing?
I didn't before. I guess I did do that on this one.
Oh, neat.
But I don't know if I have any. I don't know how you know where they sign up for. But anyways, I had 9 RSVPs from those social media marketing, and a big old goose egg showed up.
Yeah, that's hard.
But you live, you learn.
And they were the first 2 that you've done.
Yeah, first that I had done. And
about not period, but about, just to be clear.
Social Security.
This is Social Security.
Yes,
you got your accreditation for being I don't know the exact term.
Registered Social Security Analyst.
So Social Security Guru is honestly how I'm going to refer to that as. Okay. And so you were doing seminars so that people can navigate Social Security, nothing with insurance.
Yeah, okay. Nothing Medicare related. And, but this time, so I have another one on Thursday. And I chose to do it virtual because 3 of those 9 RSVPs from the last one didn't show up, but they asked me if I could do a virtual one because they were in Kansas City. Obviously, they weren't going to come over here for a little seminar.
Yeah.
So I'm doing this one virtual, and I only marketed it to my strategic alliances.
Love that.
So I emailed my flyer and the event link to maybe 10 different partners I have. Mm-hmm. And they blasted it out to their clients or employees. And I have 26 RSVPs right now. And
that's crazy.
Pumped.
That's awesome.
Super pumped about it.
And it's stuff that we know, but one of the biggest questions we get is how do I get people to my seminar? And I do think you still need to do the social media. That's just general marketing. Yeah. Even if nobody replies to it, it's still people seeing your messaging.
Yeah,
still
showing them that you're doing
brand.
it.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's still effective. It may not be the most efficient, but it is still effective. Maybe just not in the way that you wanted it to be. But again, having those alliances, having those networking partners, that's incredibly key. That's the most important part.
Yeah, I'm super pumped.
Don't mind me. I'm trying to figure out technology. My text message option isn't
working?
there. So, would someone do me a favor?
Can I do it?
Can someone text this number and tell me why my text message isn't working? You don't have to text me why it's not working, but I want to make sure someone text me. That's all I need. Someone text me.
While you're doing that, I have a TikTok.
Tell me about your
update
you have so
and
much
question.
To tell us today. Tell me about your TikToks.
So I've really been digging TikTok for
Okay. This hurts my heart.
I know it hurts my own to say it.
Oh, okay.
They're easy, to be honest. They're easy to make. They are easier to make than any of the other videos I make. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. I don't have a reason. I think it's because it's so conversational, so casual, maybe. But so I met with one of our marketing people. And she had said, you might want to change your TikTok to a business account to see if you get more views. I was like, well, interesting. So so over the last like month,
Sorry, my computer is now freaking out. My computer, aka my phone.
the last month or so, I've been getting on all my TikToks like anywhere between 700 and like 1,300 views. Pretty decent. And I get people that like bookmark them, comment. So 700 or 1,300 is like normal. I have I have one that's like 66,000. 6,600. Sorry, not 1,000.
I think that's
6,600.
So what are you talking about?
Social Security or Medicare?
Like, give me like an example. Can you share one of your TikToks to like the Facebook group?
Yeah.
Because I want to see one of these about like.
So
I saw one of them that my favorite one, and it was a Facebook reel, actually not Facebook reel, an Instagram reel.
Okay.
And it was you on a run, and I loved it because it was authentic AF. I love I don't like polished TikToks or like polished because it's like that's not.
Oh no, you can hear me out of breath.
I
I had just finished running.
And you're running, and you stop. You're just like, so I just got done talking to this. What was it like? This older gentleman.
He saw me in my neighborhood. This like
Yes.
older neighbor. He saw me. He's got to be in his 80s. He saw me like coming, and it's like been like what 100 and some degrees.
Yeah.
Super hot. He saw me coming, and he just sat there and sprayed me with his hose like as I ran by, and it was just hilarious.
That's just really bold.
It's,
To, like,
I know.
spray- like I mean, like I understand he was probably just like, this is funny. She's gonna appreciate it. It's very hot. She's working very hard. But like, what a bold like. I'm gonna spray you with a hose.
So he first was like, like warning as I approached.
Flirting.
As I approached, he was doing that, and then as I went by, he just was like,
I love
it was awesome.
There are some moments in time where I'm like, I love people.
So I'll post things like that.
Please, yeah.
But like, so I've done one on women and Social Security, talking about why Social Security greatly affects women more than men.
Okay.
Problems you can face with Social Security, foreign travel and Medicare, formulary exception information, spousal benefits of Social Security, late enrollment penalties.
Listen, I don't have a
All that
TikTok. I don't have a TikTok because I am more bullheaded than I am intelligent. But like, I should get a TikTok just to like
But you
watch
know what?
that.
I've never watched anybody else's.
You just make your own.
Because I don't want to be the. Well, no, I will look up like other Medicare people.
Okay.
But like, I don't want to get caught in the TikTok-ness.
Ooh, no, I can't. I'm like addicted
So I
to
don't
the
look at
reels
it.
and stuff. Good for you. Good for you.
At least at this moment.
I did figure out my text messages. Thank you, Ben, who's taking our job. Thank you, Ben, for helping me figure that out. We got some questions about your presentation that you're doing Thursday, the virtual one. Do you mind if some of our agents log on and watch it too?
Yeah, I sent it to you.
You did.
Yes. She's just remembering. But a couple weeks ago, she's been gone a lot, guys. A couple weeks ago, I did send her the link, and so she will.
So here's the thing.
share.
I did send that to Ben as well. So Ben, since you're watching this, let's dig up that link, put it on the Medicare Cafe Facebook page, and let's invite our friends to watch Kari
So it's
do her
Thursday
thing.
at 11, and I'll be talking about like why Social Security is so important, basic concepts of Social Security, some more complex concepts of Social Security, how benefits are calculated, and then I'll go over like specific case examples too. So
I love that. Look at that.
Yeah.
So for everybody
maybe
else,
an hour.
and again, I appreciate everybody. I don't mean to look at my phone. I'm just like trying to like figure out life right now.
Yeah.
And like trying to figure out. So I do.
Hey.
The text message is working. I has it. It's working. Text us.
text us.
Text us your questions because I am able to actually read them now. So on that note, guys, for all the videos where we said, hey, skip to minute 7, we're now like on minute 8 or 9. So welcome everybody to the Medicare Cafe. Today we're going to be talking about compliance part 176. And that's only because we have had that's kind of like, it was last year and it's continuing to be compliance is kind of the theme of the industry right now.
It's important.
It is important.
Super important.
And like, I think, I'll tell you why I think it is. I think people just want to be grumpy. And when you think about what's going on with compliance, it's not as bad as it sounds. It really isn't. And there are being tools and resources to help compensate for some of the things that, like, I don't like this doesn't make sense. I don't like that we have to do that. So some of that stuff is being built for it. But like I'm telling you guys, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, it's sunshine and rainbows, it's fine. there are things that we have to adjust to, but like it's literally like we will be okay.
For me, it's just like you get in such a groove and such
Yes.
a pattern
Having just
that it's
upset
not
that
the like
pattern.
frustrations of what we actually have to actually do. It's just like you got to change your
habit.
Your groove.
You have to change your habits, and that requires.
Yeah.
The funny thing about a habit, here's some science for you. The habit is in one of the central, like the creation of habit, when your brain
Yes.
develops a habit, it's actually in one of the most central parts of your brain, like inside of it, near the little knobby part that connects to your spine. That is actually where, like, when
Habits
you
form.
develop a habit, it's no longer, that's where, like, and that's when your body goes on autopilot. So, like, there's other things, and it's the least active part of your brain, meaning that it doesn't take much brain power to
do it.
initiate a habit. You go into
There you go.
autopilot. It's the same thing like when you're driving the same route,
Oh, yeah.
every day. You
Yeah.
kind of like, oh shoot, did I
Scary.
go through a stoplight? Like, did I stop where I
How
was
did
supposed
I get
to?
here?
It's because your brain is the least active whenever you're initiating a habit, right? So whenever your sales process and everything that you do is a habit, when you now have to start doing another process or have to change that habit, it's requiring you to have more of an active brain. I have nothing to lead with that, but like that's just some science for you. Like just telling you like
It's
why
just
is
some
it not fun? It's not because
It's not fun because we're going to have to retrain our brain.
You have to retrain your brain. So
No fun.
So let's talk about this for a little
But you're
bit.
going to make it fun today for us.
This is, well, I can't promise that. It is compliance after all. Today we're going to be talking about disclaimers, call recording, scope of appointment, events, and marketing materials. To be fair, I didn't even make these slides. Remember when I said we were getting replaced? Clayton made these slides. So it's going to be just
today,
as fun for you or for me as it is usually
Okay.
for you.
Yep.
So
First
anyways.
time we're both seeing them.
It's fine. We're good. We got this. So let's jump into the first one, which is going to be the disclaimers. This is the one that's basically a lot of people are saying like there's no way in hell we can do this.
I agree with that.
And the biggest thing is like you have to list the number of plans and the number of the products. So basically, like, long story short, if you're selling something in Boone County, you have to say hi, and, before in the disclaimer portion of your appointment, in that disclaimer, you have to say, I represent 9 carriers and 36 plans out of the 12 carriers and 102 plans that are available in this area.
But like, what is this area?
So, and that's a great question. That was a lot of debate. So back July 5th, they came through with a lot more clarification on like what does a lot of this stuff actually mean. And Integrity, mom and dad of senior marketing specialists and senior benefit services, they went through and their legal team looked over everything and gave some guidelines.
Okay.
So what
Good
they're
deal.
saying, so there's 2 solutions we have here. Number 1, look at it on a national basis. Instead of saying, in Boone County, I represent this many plans out of this many carriers. And we can do that. You can calculate those numbers fairly quickly after October 1st. You can do it now, but we don't need to do it now. We need to do it for October 1st. So instead of saying like in Boone County, I represent this many carriers and this many plans, so what they're saying is do it as far as what your national footprint is. So what you'll do is you'll go to the CMS landscape.
Okay.
And the CMS landscape, you can filter what plans you represent and the states that you represent, and the counties, you can do it all in one fell swoop. So it'll be about a 30-minute project for you, but you only have to do it once.
Okay.
And being able to calculate, okay, there are this many plans available. Now let me filter based on what plans I actually offer there, and you have one mass number. So you don't need to have a number for Missouri, Illinois, Texas, Colorado,
Okay,
California.
so in your area, we are just going to say
This is how many plans
I am
across
nationwide.
This is how many plans I offer.
That makes that so much easier.
It does make that easier. And so that is something that Integrity is saying. You just have to let them know that, this is how many plans I can offer. This is how many are available.
There you go.
So the other solution,
I can get down with that.
The other solution to that, if you do want to be more specific, because maybe, like it doesn't sound as good to say I represent, 36 plans out of 100 and something based on areas, you know what I mean? If you aren't comfortable with that, Medicare Center is actually doing their Pearl, their personal URL. Their Pearl will actually start being able to tell a consumer, hey, we are showing you 30 plans out of the 45 available there. So Medicare Center will actually be able to tell you how many plans you offer based on a zip code, not based on county, based on zip code. So that is an update that's coming up that will be a really cool update to have. But if you want to keep it, especially for my people who are representing lots of different counties and lots of different states, you just give your national footprint.
Yeah, I'd be much less daunting.
Yeah. So
speaking of Med Center, that made me think of something. Do you know if they ever solidified the like screenshot of the quote at enrollment.
There's a lot of really cool updates coming to Med Center. Let's hang on to that to the end.
Okay.
Because I'm actually not sure how much of that I'm allowed to tell.
Okay.
But it's only me, you,
Maybe
and
sneak
like
peek?
hundreds of our closest friends.
Okay.
So like it's
Yeah.
fine.
It's fine.
So
Mom's word.
the other thing with disclaimers is that that I want to go over is having to add the SHIP programs. Let them know that in addition to having an agent, in addition to Medicare, that there are resources including SHIP or CHIP, depending on the age of your clients and families. So here is basically a sample news disclaimer there at the bottom that you can see, and kind of, if you guys want to take a screenshot of that or write it down really quick, that is an example.
I'm doing it right now, guys.
Perfect. That is an example compliant disclaimer that you do have to give, again, immediately upon your appointment. That does have to be, before you present any plan information with this disclaimer.
So when you're setting up the phone call,
Yes.
like when you're setting up the meeting,
Yes.
what about, you've already said it, you're now in the meeting. Like I call to set up a meeting, somebody calls me, they want to meet with me. I stay with them on the phone.
No, this just has to be said before the sales appointment. So, like, whenever it comes to, like, somebody setting an appointment, somebody having a servicing call, anything like that, this disclaimer just needs to be said before a sales appointment, not on every communication.
Okay. What about, I would say probably 75% of my meeting setup is via email. If that is in my email,
You're good.
I'm good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good.
Fantastic.
Put that in your email.
Fantastic.
Terry asks, for a question, question for Kari, what is the time zone, please? So we're in Central Time Zone for your 11 o'clock on Thursday.
Yeah,
Central Time Zone. As a Social Security expert, can you do any state? So does
can I help with anybody in any state?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Because Social Security is like a federal.
Yeah. It's not like Medicare where it changes by state.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an individual federal, each individual benefit is going to be different, not based on where their location is.
Great question. Thank you. Okay, so the next thing we want to talk about as far as the compliance and what to expect going into 2024. Again, guys, for the most part, these will start September 30th. So making sure that right now you are getting your systems and processes aligned. September 30th is when this goes live, but don't wait until September 29th to look at this. That was a big problem last year. Everybody's like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. October 1st rolled around. They're like, crap. And
it's happening.
It is happening. Just know that. Get it in place. So with call recordings, number one, all you need to do is understand that for call recordings, the only calls that need to be recorded are true sales appointments. So leading up to October 1st, September 30th, we're still recommending record every single phone call.
I'm still going to record everything.
I
was really grateful for it about a month ago.
I think it's really, it'd be harder to differentiate. Tell me about your situation. I'm not that happy.
So, one of my clients, she got sick. Her husband called me and was asking me all these questions. We spoke maybe 3 or 4 times about, I was telling him things to do, things I would do with the doctor's office, with the insurance. All of a sudden, I get this hateful email from her. And she was like, you didn't do this. You told me you would be here. We didn't do this. And I was like, excuse me, I spoke to your husband 4 times. I did all this and this and this. And I said, and I have every one of those calls recorded if you would like me to tell you, prove to you what was said. So I was thankful that I could say that.
Yeah. I am under the belief, again, I know if this was the first time we were having to call and do call recording, I understand the logistic nightmare. But we've had to been recording calls this entire year.
Why change it?
I don't think it would be wise to change anything. Now, if you are wanting to change something, for example, with Medicare Center, because Medicare Center, when you do call recording there, it's a separate phone number. So I understand the logistics that go into well, they don't know this number.
Yeah.
That's not the number I wanted. So if you are going to only record your calls that are sales calls, and by sales calls, it means that you are intending on filling out an application or going in depth about product. You are trying to present product. If you're presenting Part C or Part D product, the call needs to be recorded. That's even if if you're doing I know what you do with new clients, you present it and then take the app on 2 different occasions.
Yep.
Both of those would be considered sales appointments. You need to record them on both. But to your point exactly, if you are used to recording phone calls, I would strongly recommend that you continue to record them.
It'll help you also if something were to ever I don't know, if you ever get a complaint, like if that lady complained about me or something, I have all the proof
literally
that I did everything possible.
And like there's a lot of times we've all done this where you're talking to somebody, you think it's a service call, and it ends up being a sales appointment.
Yes.
You end up taking a nap or going over new benefits or something like that. It happens all the time.
For sure.
So for the sake of like not having to like disrupt an appointment or disrupt a process, instead of saying, hey, let me call you back on my enrollment line, or let me do something so that this call is recorded, just record all your calls.
Yeah.
Honestly, that would be my 2 cents. It's nice to know that that you would agree with me.
Yeah.
Understanding if you haven't had a system in place, why this could be really difficult, but like
better safe than sorry.
We've all had to get a system in place just now. You should have one now.
Right.
And then continuing, this one was specified last year, or I should say this year, this selling season. But just another reminder that Zooms are considered like non face-to-face. If you are not what we say belly to belly. If you are not belly to belly with somebody, it does need to be recorded. So even a Zoom call, even though you do see faces, or like a FaceTime, even though you do see faces, those are still not belly to belly. So you need to make sure that it's different.
So many rules.
Yeah, it's really silly. So I don't like to use the term face to face because now we have technology to be face to face. That doesn't mean we're in the same room. So I use the terms belly to belly.
I like it.
Kind of like a gross.
Feet to feet?
Yeah, I don't like the imagery that belly to belly. I think it's just like when belly's like kissing belly.
Feet to feet, right?
Feet to feet.
Is that any less gross?
No, it shouldn't be less gross, but now we have a bunch of weird feet people, so.
Okay.
I digress. The next thing, this has been like one of the most points of contention, and that you can tell Clayton made this insert enthusiastic woo. 48-hour scope of appointment is back. Some good news though, scope of appointments are valid for 12 months, so you can go ahead and start getting your October 1st, your AEP scope of appointments. You can get them now, and they will be good for October 1st.
So wait, how long are they good for?
12 months.
12 months.
So it's not like, I think a lot of agents see that and be like, oh my gosh, I have to go get a scope of appointment, wait 48 hours, and then go. No, like if you can get a scope of appointment now, it's just saying they have to be at least 48 hours in advance. So like it's not like you have to like, if you get it 72 hours in advance, it's a bad thing. No, scope of appointments are good for 12 months, but you have to use, it's one scope of appointment per appointment. So you can't use the same scope of appointment for 3 different sales appointments. It's a scope of appointment per appointment. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And those do have to be held on record for 10 years. But reminder, guys, for people who've been doing this, after 2018, 2019, this was always the rules. I mean, it was just recently that they took off that 48-hour ruling period. It's that cool down period. It is okay. Some stipulations I want to come across. One, inbound phone calls are considered walk-ins. And we know walk-ins are an exception of that call. So if somebody calls your office or is an inbound call generated to you, that doesn't require the 48-hour cool-down period. You do still need a scope of appointment, but it doesn't require. You put walk-in or inbound call. Important to note that if you were ordering leads, this AEP, that's something that's really important to know. And like people are like, well, how are call centers going to do this? Well, most call centers actually get their leads generated by inbound calls, people calling a 1-800 number. So that is going to be considered an inbound lead and no longer subject to the 48-hour rule. So just know, inbound calls, you don't need to wait the 48-hour. Another thing, I was talking to Chandler, our compliance officer, and he brought up a really great point. Another thing that says like you can waive the 48 hours is going to be if it's the last 4 days of an enrollment period.
Yep. 4 days.
Yes. The last 4 days of an enrollment period, you can waive the 48-hour rule. Here's where some agents are kind of getting confused. They'll just say, okay, I'll just book like some silly agents that are just mad and saying things. They're saying, I'm going to book all of my appointments the last 4 days of the month.
Oh, gosh.
Don't be confused.
That sounds ridiculous.
It's the last 4 days of an enrollment period, not of that month. So IEP, 7-month period. If you're thinking, well, I'm going to wait till the last 4 days. My birthday's in November. I'm going to wait until the last 4 days of October so that I can waive the 48-hour rule. No, the last 4 days of my enrollment period with a November birthday would be November, December, January, February. So you can do, for me, being a November birthday, if you wanted to work that hard to waive the 48-hour scope of period, you could do it the last 4 days of February.
Yeah, that's sneaky.
So just keep that in mind. It does read confusing. It does say because we think enrollment period, you think like the next month. Like, no. The enrollment period isn't like the month before the effective date. The enrollment period is when that person is last eligible to enroll in that plan.
So tell me again the inbound call rule. So 95% of my business is referrals. So that's always an inbound call. So if someone wants to meet that next day, that's okay?
Well, so no. It's walk-in is going to be considered, I'm walking in and I want to walk out with a plan.
Okay, but inbound call would be I'm calling in and I want to leave that phone call with a plan?
Yes. It's like
well, that's ridiculous. If an inbound call and that call needs to leave to an appointment, but if someone wants to meet the next day, they can't?
Correct. So if you want to make a sale, that same phone call, and it's an inbound, they called you, you can waive the 48-hour rule. But if they called you because they want to make an appointment, that requires the 48-hour rule.
Okay.
It's essentially what it is. It's just a way to make sure that people... okay, I'm not going to like speak on behalf of CMS because God knows why they do what they do 90% of the time. But I imagine what this is for is that it's on the behalf of the consumer. If a consumer calls in expecting to get a plan today, they call in and say, I see this commercial, I want to call in because I want help with my Medicare. They're trying to make it so that the consumer, if it's consumer driven, the consumer gets what they want.
Okay.
And that's kind of, I think, why CMS is implementing the walk-in rule, which they've always had. And the call-in rule is because they're saying if a person wants insurance right then and there and they're doing it that day, fine. But if they're saying, I need an appointment, then make the appointment in 2 days
48 hours.
And get the signature right then and there.
Nonsense.
I don't disagree.
My shoe fell off while you were talking.
I understand that it's upsetting news, but you don't have to throw your shoes, Kari. I understand. So anyways, that's what we have for the scope of appointment rules. Just a couple reminders that is the case. It isn't going to be that bad, guys. Reminder, I would strongly recommend being familiar with Medicare Center scope of appointment. They are coming up with scope of appointment scripts.
Oh, that's the easiest one.
Yeah, well, in the call script of like, hey, do you acknowledge? It's like an acknowledgement over the phone. They're going to have that be scope of appointment stuff soon. So there are updates coming to both technology as well as just kind of how agents are navigating this. More to come, but it's going to be okay.
It'll be fine.
Agents were...
I'm going to try to start doing it now.
I think that's a good idea.
So I get used to it.
Build that habit.
Yeah.
Build that inner cortex.
I'm going to do it for 21 days, right?
21 days builds a habit.
21 days.
I always heard, funny story. I learned this in softball. I was in pitching camp for... Yes, it was a thing. Anyways. And my pitching coach told me that for every time you do something incorrect, it takes doing it correct 7 times.
I was going to say, is it 7?
Yeah, yes. I remember. So it's the rule of 7. If you do something incorrectly, that's going towards building a habit. So it takes 7 times of doing it correct to overcome 1 incorrect.
Gosh.
Yeah. All these, psychology.
Full of statistics
Psychology
today.
is so interesting. Last thing I want to talk about, I think it's the last. Nope. Second to last thing I want to talk about is going to be the events. Making sure that these are just, again, these are just some of the basic updates to that. Shouldn't come as a surprise. No sales events can be within 12 hours of an educational event. That is new. People would do an educational event, turn around and do a register sales event to kind of capitalize on the educational events.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. This one right here, you may not set future appointments or collect SOAs. The only thing that you can collect in an educational event now is permission to contact.
Okay.
And it's always been this way, but just a reminder, you don't have to, you are not allowed to pass out your business card or pass out any personal information about you, but you can make it available. So
what if it's on the last slide of your presentation?
That's fine.
Okay.
You just can't you can't hand somebody a business card.
Okay.
The rules are so dumb. I'm not, this is the dumbest thing, but you can make your business cards available.
You can't force it upon them and put it in their pocket.
Force someone to take your business card, aka pass it out.
Okay. We have some questions.
Yeah. Some questions was, are you saying that we should qualify the purpose of their phone call? So basically going back to the call recording. my recommendation is just continuing to record all phone calls.
Yeah.
However, if you find it's just through organic conversation, this doesn't have to be scripted, but through organic conversation, if you aren't recording the phone calls, but you're finding and feeling that this phone call is going to become a sales conversation where you're discussing product and discussing options for them, I would recommend either initiating the call recording, but something that like you can initiate mid-call, or saying here, if you're using Medicare Center, so you can also say here, let me call you on my sales line. Let me call you, I like to say enrollment line. Let me call you on my enrollment line so that this is recorded. I can make the call recording available to you so that if you want to review what we're going over, you can.
People are totally used to that too. I feel like that's not weird at all.
No. See, again, I like just record the whole thing. But it's totally fine to say, let me call you back on my enrollment line.
Yep.
Cool. So, great question. Going on as far as events are concerned, the biggest thing is that you cannot schedule appointments at that event. For me,
I told you, I think I've never done that.
I know you've never had, but you and I would do it very differently. But you're crazy successful doing it the way that you're doing it.
But it's just why, like, I don't know why that's never even, like, how in all my seminars I've done. It's never even crossed my mind.
To schedule appointments there. I think it's because, and I understand, I'm going to get into the brain of Kari really quick.
Please do.
Bear with me. When you're doing a seminar, you're doing it because you see value in the information and you're in a servitude mindset. I'm giving you this information because you need it. Mm-hmm. So the idea of capitalizing on that and turning that servitude into a sales mindset is an uncomfortable shift. And I can respect that.
I think you just hit the nail on the head there.
I am very insightful this morning. No one asked for
this.
No one has asked for this, but here I am just spitting knowledge that is just made up.
And the points don't matter. Didn't even know it, but she just figured it out.
But there is something to say about, like, you need to find, my point to this is doing educational events, you need to find a way to turn the marketing efforts of getting out there, getting information out there, showing your name, showing you're the experts. You have to turn marketing efforts into prospecting efforts, aka making that profitable.
But I think by me saying, I'm trying to think of how I would end my seminars. Like, here's my contact information. I know we talked about a lot of stuff today. Let it sink in. You're going to think of more questions. Mm-hmm. Call me as soon as you have those questions. So I still have, like, a call to action. I'm not just like,
listen, I'm not going to tell you how you should do it.
I'm just trying to think of how
because you've done it incredibly successful. Like, what you do works.
But
my whole shtick about having a stronger call to action and asking for appointments, which you can't do now anyway, so, like, not important anymore, but was the fact that, like, when they leave that seminar, they're on to the next thing. You are now in the past. They have the next thing. What am I doing for lunch? What am I doing for dinner? What am I doing this weekend? And so for them to actually have to take an activity and do something, you got to strike while the iron is hot. And so the iron is the most hot when they're still in that mindset and they haven't left that space. None of that matters anymore because you can't set appointments anyways, but you can collect permission to contacts. So reframe what your call to action is with those permission to contacts, and just make sure that if the permission to contact is like, it just has to be during a specific period. Mm-hmm. So like if you're doing like an ANOC meeting, do like permission to contact for during AEP, just mark it as for AEP. Yeah. But like you only need permission to contacts for prospects. You do not need a permission to contact for a current client.
Can we record our scopes on our recording setup?
They are working on that. So currently the way it stands today,
like just like a virtual, like nothing signed?
It's a voice scope. It's a voice authorization to say, yes, you have permission to talk to me about this. Okay. Up until this point, that has been available exclusively for call centers. And call centers have the ability and the technology to do voice scope recordings that are not tied to a carrier. Like right now, you can do one through SilverScript, Aetna, you can do one, I think, WellCare, but they are specific to that company.
Yeah.
Up to this point, only call centers have had the availability to do like a generalized scope appointment that's not tied to a particular carrier.
Interesting.
So they are coming up with it. I know Medicare Center is working on an authorized CMS-approved voice scope that you have to read a very specific script to. More to come.
Answers that next question. Mm-hmm. If we can record it, is there an approved script?
Sounds like
there should be.
Coming up. It is available. Like I said, it was something that only call centers had access to, but now everybody's getting access to it, which is really cool. Michelle says, I thought we can hand out a business card if they specifically requested at an educational event. Yes, Michelle. If, again, you can make them available. If they say, can I have a card? You can absolutely hand them a card. What you can't do is pass out your information to people who did not request it.
Who did not request it.
Yeah. Isn't this just the silliest? Just the silliest. Can I see that last screen again? Are you talking about this one? Because yes, you can.
The sales events.
And yeah, so just reminder, you can collect, again, business reply cards or permission to contact forms if needed. And I do recommend that. We'll just need to reframe what our call to action is. The last one we want to talk about is the marketing materials. Just a reminder again that these materials don't, it's
hard to get it out.
Yes. The hard part with this is coming through what is marketing versus communication.
I struggle with that.
And there's a lot of conversation going up to kind of clarify what is the difference between marketing and communication. And so more is coming out on that. The biggest thing, though, is that please, when you are building your own marketing pieces, keep benefits out of that. Keep dollar amounts out of that. Keep carriers' names out of that. If you do want to, advertise, hey, I have some really great plans that are $0 premium, $3,000 dental benefits. If you do want to market that, you have some really cool plans to show. Carriers like Humana, UHC, Mutual, Aetna, they have their own CMS approved carrier pieces that are carrier branded
for you to use.
Beautiful, and you just have to put your name on there, and some of them even let you put your logo on there. So just use those. Don't make your own. If you are going to make your own, please don't do anything Medicare Advantage specific. Please use our pieces. They are approved by our compliance team. And there are things about what your marketing should be doing should be advertising your services. You should not be advertising. That'd be like having a plumber that advertises the type of pipe he uses. No one cares about the pipe. They care about the plumber. Don't advertise carriers, advertise your agencies, and compliance will not even be a problem that you have to worry about.
So how does this marketing affect social media? All my TikToks, all my videos. I obviously can't get those approved by...
No, that's a great question about what social media, period. Yeah. What the heck do we do with that?
Yeah.
Just continue. Do not talk about educational. Do not talk about carriers. Don't even say anything that rhymes with Bumana or United Healthcare. I'm not good at this. Just keep carriers and keep plan details out of it completely. You will be fine. Stick to the resources. Stick to Medicare 101. Stick to your Social Security stuff. Stick to hey, my clients. I love an agency I work with did an entire series on Facebook saying my clients get. And one of them was my clients get an annual review with me. They get an annual review that they know that I'm looking at their healthcare every year. My clients get help whenever they need work with claims. And they go into a big video about how their staff helps with claims. My clients get, and they did a 10-part video series entitled
awesome.
My Clients Get.
I like
that. Advertise why you are the better option versus working with somebody who can't spell Medicare and is a seasonal worker that comes up during AEP. You have so much more to offer than the carriers you represent. I'm on a soapbox. My heartbeat's going.
I have a question about benefits as far as something I feel like I'm just realizing. Well, I know I say it, but that maybe it could be controversial. So when I'm going over, original Medicare versus Medicare Advantage, I always go over what is not covered.
Yeah.
Do
that.
Long-term care, dental, vision, hearing. Mm-hmm. But when I talk about Medicare Advantage, I'll say some of these plans, not all of them, will have some of those extra benefits.
Yes, that is completely okay. Try to keep
I'm
dollar
not saying
amounts.
$1,000 of dental.
Keep dollar amounts out of it.
Okay.
And reminder, when you're doing an educational event, those do follow those additional guidelines, which I would say that is an educational thing.
Yeah.
But I would just say just keep it as
if I made a TikTok about that, and said that.
Absolutely. Okay. You could easily do that. Now, here's the one thing, especially when you're doing events, you will, if you have an engaged audience, you will get questions of my cousin's dog walker says that she gets her gas paid for her. How does she do that? Like, you will get people who will ask about specific benefits. You are completely fine to answer those questions. If someone asks you, even if it's a one-on-one setting or if it's a mass audience or in a seminar setting, when somebody asks you questions about specific benefits, you are in every right allowed to answer those questions. Just don't go, and while we're at it, let's talk about this plan and what they offer in contrast. So you use your best judgment, but yes, you can answer those questions.
Perfect.
So do disclaimers need to change on the permission to contacts? Funny enough, Michelle, what we're finding out with both the scope of appointments and permission to contacts reminders, those are federal documents. So do not go and like add your own stuff. Do not go and alter those. Those are CMS approved documents. Do not change them yourselves. We did notice that the scope of appointment verbiage didn't change last year to go over like a lot of the things that we thought like surely the scope will cover that. They didn't.
So you don't think this one will change again?
I don't think they will because I don't think the people in charge really understand the implications and what this does. Yeah. Believe it or not, I don't think the government knows what's actually going to happen here. But we do have some really cool things, including we call them cover your ass forms, but they're called Medicare Supplement and Medicare Advantage review forms. Those we are updating to include a lot of this verbiage. Okay. So SMS has your back. I can't say the same for maybe some government entities.
Definitely use the CYA form. I use that with all of them.
Yeah, you need it. You need it. Not you specifically. I'm not saying you need it. I'm saying like agents need it. Yeah. If I have a landing page or contact button on social, is permission to contact okay? So fun. You're kind of getting to a different era there. If you have something that's like a call now or a contact me, that's actually considered like an inbound lead. Yeah. If you are doing something or posting something and somebody's reaching out to you,
they have to actively click on that and fill it out.
Exactly. So make sure that you have the right disclaimers whenever you're doing any type of like contact me, and that is I'm not associated with Medicare and your title, licensed insurance agent. So always try to make sure that you have the proper disclaimer. Which is not the proper disclaimer in that case is not the really big long one. Yeah. The proper disclaimer there is just like, I don't represent Medicare. I am not an affiliate of Medicare. I am a licensed insurance agent. Just have that there and it's fine. You're good. That's,
so many different disclaimers.
It's like, I would say something like a reply on a social media post is the same as a business reply card. Yeah. It's somebody requesting information. It. Oh my gosh, I really do feel like this conversation is the land of where everything's made up and the points don't matter. Whose line is it anyways, fans? That's what
it is.
Everything's made up and the points don't matter.
Everything's That is the best line.
Yeah. That's quite literally what it's like working with CMS.
That's so true.
That's what we have today, guys. We went over this, talking about, again, yada, yada, all that. It's silly. Don't make your own. Don't make your own pieces. If you are going to be talking about Medicare Advantage, if you want to, and I don't want to, like, demonize it, because there is some benefit of being like, hey,
well, but there's
so
cool
many plans out there. You should talk to me about them.
Yeah, but there's so many approved, compliant marketing materials that you guys already have.
And let me tell you what else. So I have lots of opinions. I haven't had a platform to talk in a while, and so I'm just like word vomiting everything.
Share it.
Back in the day, right? 10 years ago, 5 years ago even, it used to be that in a county, in an area, in a city, in a zip code, there was a dominant plan. There was there's nothing else in this area. If you're going to go on a Medicare Advantage plan, your doctors, your medicines, nothing else matters. If you're going to go this route, this is probably the plan you're going to want, right? That's not the case anymore. There are so many really valuable and viable options for clients that, like, it does require more shopping, more education, because it's not like this is the obvious choice. There's a lot of stuff that you need to have in there. So I say all that to say, back in the day, having advertisements about a carrier or promoting advertisements about a plan made sense because that was the obvious option. There is no obvious option anymore. So, like, I really don't see the need or desire to advertise a carrier on behalf of your agency. Because you don't want to pigeonhole yourself into
maybe like if you are a small town. I know there's a couple like up north that I feel like there's only one main plan, but
in your more rural areas, but like that's honestly like we're seeing where companies are expanding this year, and like
It's still not going to be
It's not going to be, which, like, I'm saying it like it's a bad thing. It's an awesome thing.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
But it's just gone of the days of simplicity. And back then, we were all mad because it was hard as hell. And it's just getting...
This AEP is going to be hard. There's going to be so many shakeups. I know it.
There's going to be a lot of shakeups.
Last year was way too...
Did you see that WellCare and Mutual of Omaha are partnering up and doing a product together?
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, WellCare and Mutual of Omaha? How can
They're
they
going to
do
have
that?
a baby. And it's going to be a product. It's going to be a Medicare Advantage plan.
Wellaby Omaha?
Listen,
What
it sounds like a football play.
Wellaby.
Omaha.
Wellaby.
It won't be Wellaby.
Is
Wellaby is
Medico.
Medico. So it'll just be...
Oh my gosh. WellCare.
Wellha.
What? So,
Thank God we're not in charge
what
of the
would the
marketing.
purpose of that be?
I imagine Mutual of Omaha wants a Medicare Advantage plan and wants their name on it, but doesn't want the hassle of having to do the things. And WellCare has a really crappy connotation to their name.
And Omaha
so they
has
want
a
the
really great
Omaha
one.
name. So it's kind of like, what do you do whenever you're really bad, your reputation, your branding's really bad, but
Stick
like
on a good name.
You just stick on a really good name. So it's a win-win situation,
Okay.
hopefully for everybody. Oh well, Scott. Oh well.
Oh, I like that.
You should be on their marketing team. You
Oh
would
my
do
gosh,
much
I
better
hope
than
that's
you
the
and
name
I.
so bad.
Oh well. It is internally forevermore. Have you heard about the
OL plan?
Yeah. What a great day.
Perfect.
Any other questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises? Put them in the questionnaire box, aka the comment box, or text this number.
We have one more final
I
text.
do. What are the regs that pertain to scanning of SOBs, so summary of benefits, and using them for virtual appointments? Sorry, are you talking about making sure that the clients actually get a copy of the summary of benefits? Are you talking about making sure...
Because there are compliance rules over that. I do that all the time.
Yeah. So, well, you're doing
How
it the right
so?
way. The compliance is that you're supposed to... It's the same reason, like, back whenever people did these things on paper, if you remember paper. You would actually have to leave the entire application booklet behind, including star ratings, summary of benefits, all that stuff. You would leave that behind. The only thing that you would take from the booklet was apps. You were not allowed to just print the apps. It's compliance that you have to leave all information behind. You only take the app. So whenever you're doing a virtual appointment, there's the question of, okay, do I still have to make sure that they are left with the summary of benefits and all that stuff? That's why it's really important to use like Lean, Medicare Center, any type of virtual appointment process when you're not doing it paper. Like Medicare Center will make sure that they get an email with all that information on there, including like most carrier sites will do it.
But like if I want to email them the summary benefits and go over that with them,
you can absolutely do that.
How else do you go over plain benefits?
You can absolutely do that. Okay. You can. That is not a concern. So just making sure that they have a copy, either electronic or in paper, of their plan details, including summary of benefits. You have to do that in order to make a compliant sales presentation. It's not enough to just do a screen share and show it to them. They have to have an actual copy of it.
Good deal.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises? Let me know.
That was a little jingle.
Yeah, I'm trying some new stuff out. I'm just bringing in some weird energy here.
It's a great energy.
Some weird energy.
No, it's not. It's been a long time, you know?
So long.
It's
I've
been
missed
so
you so
long.
much.
I've missed you more. We're going to just end right here,
weird.
snuggling.
Just snuggles. Perfect, guys. Well, we do appreciate you hanging out with us.
Thank you so much.
I don't even think we were that rusty. I think we did all right.
I think we did great.
I'll get a full review from
see.
my boss, Ben and Clayton. I'm sure they'll let me know.
We're out. They're kicking us out.
I mean, honestly, it's about this. Yeah, it makes sense. So for everybody else, until next Tuesday at 10 a.m., we'll be discussing more things leading into this really complicated season called AEP. Until then, have fun.
Make money.
And give impeccable service. We did it. Oh my God, I missed it. Bye, guys.